My name is Claire Whitman. Across from me sat my husband of 7 years, Lucas Whitman. He didn't look angry. He didn't look sad either. His face was calm, polished, almost professional, as if we were closing a business deal instead of ending a marriage. The sharp click of his pen echoed in the room when he placed it down. "Sign it, Claire," Lucas said. His tone was flat. "There's no reason to drag this out." I looked down at the divorce papers. His signature was already there, bold, confident, final. Outside, rain streaked down the windows, blurring the city lights into long, trembling lines. For a moment, I couldn't speak. My throat felt tight, as if someone had tied a knot around it. "This house is in my name," he continued, standing up and straightening his jacket. "The car, too. You came into this marriage with nothing, and you'll leave the same way. I'll give you some money, enough to rent a room and get back on your feet. Consider it courtesy." Courtesy. 7 years collapsed into that single word. I had poured most of my savings into this home. I had built my business while supporting his career. I had believed every promise he ever made. And now he was erasing me with the same ease he used to erase emails. "Why?" I asked quietly. My voice barely sounded like my own. "What did I do wrong?" Lucas smiled, not warmly, not kindly. "You didn't do anything wrong, Claire," he said. "You just don't fit into my life anymore." That was when the bedroom door opened. My mother-in-law, Helen Whitman, walked in slowly. She was wearing silk pajamas, her hair neatly brushed, her expression composed. She glanced at the papers, then at me, and let out a short, dismissive laugh. "What are you waiting for?" she said sharply. 7 years and you still haven't given this family anything worth keeping. Sign and go." I stood up, my hands shaking. "I paid for this house," I said. "I paid for your medical bills. I paid for Sabrina's education. I didn't take anything from this family." Helen's eyes hardened. "Proof?" she snapped. "Where's your proof? Everything is in my son's name. You gave what you gave because you wanted to. Now stop embarrassing yourself." She turned to Lucas. "Throw her out. I don't want her under this roof another minute." He didn't hesitate. Lucas grabbed my arm, dragged me to the front door, and pushed me outside. I stumbled, falling hard onto the cold stone porch. The rain soaked through my clothes instantly. The door began to close. At the last second, Helen stepped out, holding an old, torn canvas bag. "The one you used to take to the market," she said, throwing it at my feet. "Take your trash and never show your face here again." The door slammed shut. I was alone, soaked, shaking, sitting in the rain with nothing but a suitcase and a ragged bag beside me. I picked up the bag with trembling hands, and when I opened it, everything changed. Before that night, before the rain and the divorce papers, I believed I was one of the lucky ones. Lucas and I met when we were both young and hopeful. He had just moved to Seattle, full of ambition, but still finding his footing. I had recently graduated and was pouring every ounce of energy I had into a small fashion boutique I named Willow and Thread. It was nothing glamorous at first, just a narrow space, a few racks of clothing, and a dream that felt bigger than the room itself. Lucas used to sit on a stool near the register while I worked late. He would watch me fold clothes, manage inventory, talk to customers. He told me he admired my drive. He said I inspired him. I believed him. We married quietly. No grand venue, no luxury honeymoon, just family, close friends, and promises whispered with absolute certainty. After the wedding, we lived modestly. I kept growing my business, slowly turning one boutique into 2, then 3. Willow and Thread became profitable, stable, respected. I never hid that success from Lucas. I shared my numbers. I shared my plans. I shared my wins. I thought marriage meant transparency, teamwork, trust. When Lucas struggled early in his career, I supported him without hesitation. When he landed his first major promotion, I celebrated him like it was my own achievement. And when he talked about wanting to give his family a better life, I didn't question it. His parents lived in an aging house that needed constant repairs. When Helen fell ill, I paid for the treatments without ever mentioning money. When the bills piled up, I handled them quietly. I told myself this was what family did for one another. Then there was his sister, Sabrina Whitman. She was bright, ambitious, and eager to leave Seattle to chase bigger dreams. When she talked about expensive programs and opportunities she couldn't afford, I saw myself in her younger years. I offered to help. Not as a loan, not with conditions, just help. For years, I sent money regularly. Tuition, living expenses, everything she needed so she could focus on building her future. I sacrificed vacations. I postponed expansions. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself it would be worth it. As Willow and Thread stabilized, I stepped back from daily operations. I wanted to be more present at home. I cooked, I organized, I waited for Lucas at night. I believed I was investing in our marriage the same way I had invested in my business. I never thought of myself as generous. I thought of myself as loyal. And loyalty, I would soon learn, is the easiest thing to exploit when it's given without protection. The change didn't happen overnight. That was the most dangerous part. At first, it was subtle. Lucas started coming home later than usual. He said work was demanding more of him. New clients, new expectations, new pressure. I believed him because ambition had always been part of who he was. Then the late nights turned into missed dinners. Missed dinners turned into weekends spent networking. His phone was always face down. His answers became shorter, colder. When I asked if something was wrong, he sighed like I was exhausting him. "You worry too much," he said. "This is just how success looks." Around that time, Sabrina came back to Seattle. She wasn't the same girl I had supported for years. She dressed differently, spoke differently. She talked about circles I didn't recognize and opportunities I didn't understand. She teased me about staying home too much, about focusing on my business instead of enjoying life. "A woman needs to keep up," she once said casually. "Men get bored when things feel predictable." I laughed it off. I didn't realize she was testing boundaries. Lucas began going out with her more often. Dinners, events, private gatherings. He said Sabrina was helping him make connections. I wanted to be supportive, so I stayed quiet. But the house felt different. He stopped asking about my day. He stopped listening. When I tried to talk about Willow and Thread, he waved me off. "You've already made your money," he said once. "Let me focus on mine." That sentence stayed with me. Sometimes he came home smelling unfamiliar, not like cologne, like someone else. When I asked, he snapped, "Do you hear yourself? You sound paranoid." I started questioning my instincts instead of his behavior. I cooked his favorite meals. I dressed better. I tried harder. And the more I tried, the more distant he became. He spoke to me like a problem that needed managing, not a partner who deserved honesty. Helen noticed too. She grew sharper with me, more critical. She commented on how quiet I was, how little space I seemed to take up. "You've changed," she said once. "You used to be more useful." I told myself it was stress. I told myself all marriages went through seasons. I told myself patience was strength. What I didn't know was that patience to the wrong people looks exactly like permission. And while I was trying to save a marriage, Lucas and Sabrina were quietly preparing to end it on their terms. I just didn't know yet that I wasn't losing control. I was being pushed out of it. The rain slowed to a thin, icy drizzle as I walked away from the house I had once called home. My suitcase rolled behind me. I didn't know where I was going. I only knew I couldn't stay there any longer. I stopped beneath the awning of a closed cafe and sat down on the cold concrete. The only thing beside me was the torn canvas bag Helen had thrown at my feet like a final insult. I opened it, and that was when everything finally shifted. At the top was a dark blue passbook wrapped in clean leather. Account holder, Claire Whitman. Balance, $20 million. Beneath it, property deeds, a townhouse in Queen Anne, paid in full, my name. At the bottom, a prepaid phone, and a folded letter from Helen Whitman. "If you are reading this, they believe you are broken. You are not. They have been stealing from you. I moved what I could quietly and legally. Use the phone.
Pretend you have nothing. This is not over. For the first time in days, I didn't feel empty. I felt awake.